G'day everyone. Welcome to my message of hope for today, 31st of May 2026. It is George. That's right, the last day of autumn. Fantastic. Let's have a little chat. And today we'll chat about this interesting story here. You see, a school principal from Hong Kong was on a trip to Singapore with his students. Then something happened. And that something became a confrontation with a local security guard. And of course, somebody nearby had a phone. It's pretty common these days. I think you can have a guess. You know how this ends. Yes, the video went public for sure. And yes, you probably can guess, the rest of the nation also follows suit. And I watched it thinking, I'm sure he didn't plan for that moment to define himself. Hey, I mean, nobody ever does, right? They didn't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to have a confrontation with a security guard. It doesn't work that way. Now, I'm not here to criticize the man because I think he's having a hard time. Honestly, I don't know how or what his story was, whether he was just exhausted, if something had already gone wrong that morning, or even if the heat got to him, because Singapore is a pretty hot place to be in. Yeah, especially in the middle of the day. The environment there with 90% plus humidity, yeah, it can be very challenging. So it could be any of those things or others as well. We just don't know. But here's where I just don't think we should just glance over it. So have a think about this. He said what he said, yes. And the phone was rolling, the camera was filming. Now the whole world has seen it, including, I suspect, a lot of future employer who types his name into the search bar, perhaps. Because I imagine he'll probably be looking for another job too, okay? So this will be an interesting time for him. Now, one of the points I want to make, internet does not forget. And I want to say something that might be a little bit uncomfortable here, just a little bit, because we talk a lot on this channel about stewardship of money. Yes, how we spend it, definitely how we save on it, and even how we give it. Three combinations here. And I believe all that matters deeply. I do. But there's another resource we spend every single day. Can you guess what it is? One that we almost never account for? Yeah, 5 letters, our words, W-O-R-D-S. But unlike money, you cannot get them back. Once it's gone, it's done. Okay, if you're finding this to be useful, I really hope you are. Please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and continue to share my video to your friends and family, and keep those comments coming, please. Really appreciate it. Now, let's go on with the Bible verse today, which is Proverbs 25, chapter 25, verse 28. Have a listen to this. Yes, a man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. So, King Solomon wrote that roughly about 3,000 years ago. You can imagine there was only smartphones and no media, social media around environments. Nothing like a search engine to just look for records of your worst moment on that afternoon. No. But he saw it very clearly. That he said, a city without walls has no defense. Whatever is outside gets in. Of course, whatever is inside spills out. So there is no filter between what you feel and what you do. No pause between impulse and a consequence. That's his point. And that's what an unguarded tongue looks like. Because it's just not rude, it's also exposed. So being vulnerable in a way you don't always register in the moment. Because in the moment, you feel that power, that rage inside you. And then the moment ends and you are standing in the rubble of something you cannot rebuild with an apology alone. In most cases. Now, I know this, so it's not fury. Just recently, the daughter of my pastor shared something at the Bible study last week. She mentioned a colleague of hers had just lost his job. Now, the circumstances weren't clear on what ground that he's dismissed. The story is just that in the middle of a conversation with her colleague in a group, something in him broke loose. He turned to her and said, I'm quoting this as clear as I can, "You haven't had enough experience in life, so you shouldn't be telling people on what to do." Whoa, the group went silent, right? She told her with genuine bewilderment. She wasn't angry about it, there wasn't any tears. Just that particular kind of shock when someone you thought you understood becomes briefly unrecognizable. Yeah, that rage coming out from people. And I remember sitting there thinking, yeah, how funny life deals with people, isn't it? And including me. I'm no saint. I have to tell you something I'm not proud of. Years and years ago, it's almost decades now, two decades or more, I was teaching my girlfriend to drive. We were on our way to meet my university friends for dinner. You know, one of those rare catch-ups, the kind that almost never happens. Because it's true, everyone's got their own life to live. We got jobs and we weren't living close together. So it matters when that group gets together. Now, as she was driving, she came to a stop sign and didn't fully stop. That infuriated me. She just made a little pause, temporary pause, but didn't fully stop. And at that moment, out of my impulse, I yelled at her. I told her to stop, right? There were more things I said too. So yeah, you can understand it wasn't a gentle correction. It wasn't a patient driving instructor I was at that time. I literally yelled at her. Now, she didn't say much because she was really in a deep shock, the poor girl. And we drove the rest of the way in a quiet I had created. When we arrived at dinner, we said hello to people I hadn't seen in months, and we just smiled. She smiled too because that's what you got to do. Now, I apologized to her on a day, and by her grace, she forgave me. We just moved on. But I want to be honest with you, that moment still embarrasses me today, okay? Not because of the stop sign, but because of what I chose to spend on the night. That was supposed to be something good. Now, we nearly never get those evenings, and I use part of mine to make her feel small over something that costs somebody nothing, all right? So again, the city broke open, and what spilled out was not something I'm proud of. That's what Proverbs 25 verse 28 actually looks like. When his walls walk into a car or even a Saturday evening on the way to dinner. Again, a man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. Yeah, he wasn't a tyrant, not a monster, just a man who didn't pause. Yeah, who spent something he couldn't get back on a night he can't recover. And she carried it into her dinner with her, quietly, graciously, even apologized. So thank you, wife. Thank you. Friends, here's what I want you to leave with you. So that principal in Singapore, holiday in Singapore, didn't plan to be on camera. And my friend's colleague didn't plan to say something that stunned the room. No. And I didn't plan to raise my voice on the way to see my good friends. Hey, a lot of time nobody plans these things. But the phone was rolling anyway. So before you post, definitely before you send, before you say the things building pressure behind your teeth, please ask yourself this one golden question. Just one, all right? Is this how I want to be remembered in this moment? And that is the message of hope for today. Thanks for being with me, guys. I really appreciate it. It's a beautiful day. It's a great park here. I hope to see you soon. Don't forget to subscribe. Take it easy. Bye-bye.